Welcome to TNTM, the show Lore, where I'm talking nerdy to you about our backstory, how we came to be. Last, I had joined back up with Slay J to do a different podcast. It was Nerds with Attitude, where it was mostly us complaining about stuff. We had talked and we had kind of decided like the best way to get this podcast out is if it was back under the TNTM the show umbrella, right? So it's like if we posted on the same website and it was just part of that. And so I talked with the ambassador and the ambassador agreed to it. So Nerds with Attitude kind of became part of TNTM the show. And to the point where like we kind of stopped doing Nerds with Attitude. And like I said, the ambassador and I were doing our thing, just doing the comic book podcast every week, as well as going to conventions. We were always trying to go to conventions. Conventions were a thing for a long time. Like the first convention that I remember we went to, we weren't even really officially a thing, but it was ACE, Albuquerque Comic Expo, I think. It was great. It was awesome. They had a lot of talent there. We got a lot of, well, that wasn't even the first year that we did all kinds of interviews. I went to this panel. We both went to this panel with Raphael Sabarge because he had been in Dexter and he had also been multiple characters in BioWare games. He was Kaiden in Mass Effect, and then he was the pilot in KOTOR. I forget his name. And I even asked because I think the third game was coming out. I presented myself. I was like, we weren't even an official thing, but I was like, hey, Pablo Gunner of TNT on the show here. And I wanted to know if there's any homosexual interactions in Mass Effect 3. And he's like, yeah, actually, he's like, I have recorded quite a few things, so you may or may not see it. They cut a lot of stuff, so we'll see. And we put it out there. We're like, boom, we put it out there that we found it. And I remember I misspelled Shepard for Commander Shepard. And people were like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's full of it. They're not even legit, which we weren't really legit back then. So, but we were right. When the game came out, you can get with Kaiden. It was pretty great. I'm not going to lie. That was really cool. And then I remember we went to, and I don't know if this was the same one, but I remember Slay J went as the Flash and he had like the tights and everything. You could see his big old bulge. Did a Commander Shepard multiple times. And I did a Winter Soldier another time. And that was another thing is we started getting into it and we went to a convention. It was the Power Rangers and we got like a lot of interviews with the different Power Rangers and stuff. And that was really awesome. I even talked to the Mark Meir, the guy that plays Commander Shepard. I got a picture with him and he was actually cosplaying as Baron von Strauss, I think. It was crazy awesome. It's like that's so cool when like the guests cosplay as well, like especially as something that's like not a character of theirs. I mean, if it is, that's awesome too. We've done so many interviews and it just became more difficult to get interviews because that went away, Ace went away, and then someone else took over the con scene and they were just not friendly with people doing interviews. Like it used to be where like they had handlers and the handlers would set something up with you. They'd be like, hey, here's their schedule. This is when we can do it. And you would just come up to the booth and you would just be like, hey, and talk to them. And it was real cool and really easy. And it was like near impossible to get that stuff done with the guests, the talent, like actors and stuff. Voice actors a little bit easier. Like obviously, like if they're busy, they don't want you around because they're like, I'm losing money because of you. They only cared if they weren't busy. With the other people, it was different though. Like with Ace, it wasn't a problem. But then with like Albuquerque Comic Con and Santa Fe Comic Con and those ones were have been so hard to get interviews. Like that's why we just don't have interviews with with actors and stuff like that anymore because it's just so difficult to get them to the point where we just stopped trying. We stopped trying and we kind of like was soul crushing, so we just stopped. Who's the guy that plays Flash Gordon? He was like he chewed me out because like I had like a paper, like it was a cheap paper business card. And he's like, "This isn't even legit. Come back when you're legit." And he's like, "You guys are a joke, and you need to get your stuff together." And it was like it was kind of soul crushing, you know. And I've kind of always wanted to be like, well, we're legit now. Here's our business card, but I don't want to interview because I don't care for you and nobody cares about you. I was just doing it because I was like, you're here, why not? I was trying to be nice more than anything, you know, because a lot of times when there's nobody at your booth, people interviewing you will be like, hey, what's going on over here? Why are you interviewing this dude? What's going on? What's up? And they'll go check out the booth just because you're there. And you might even have like a line built up, and then we'll stop, and then people will be like rushing the booth to find out what's going on with them. So it's kind of like a self promotion thing. So if you turn it down, and that's happened quite a few where people are just like, "Oh, sorry, man, I'm busy," and it's like, bro, you're not busy. Like, there's nobody here. There's nobody in your lines. Like, I've been hanging out here in this area for like 10 minutes and nobody's been by. So it's like, so who are you fooling? It's like you think you're a big deal because you're on Power Rangers or something like that, you know, however many years ago that I never watched. So it's like, I don't even know who you are really. I like Blue Power Ranger. I tried getting an interview with him, and that's the other thing too is people don't trust you. They're like, well, let me check your stuff out, and then maybe. And if you don't have big numbers, they don't really want an interview because they're like they want to reach more people, and it's like, yeah, you'll reach more people, not a lot more people. It's like your loss, our loss too. Conventions have been fun and crazy and a good time. I try to go and cosplay every time, usually themed as people who are there. Like, oh, if the Green Power Ranger is going to be there, I'm going to go, or White Power Ranger, I'm going to go as a White Power Ranger, or if there's Power Ranger, you know, whatever type thing. But yeah, so yeah, conventions have always been a blast. Make sure you check out our merch at TNTM the store, where you can find this merch, I Rebel, on sale with free shipping. Thank you for watching and listening, my fellow Nungeon amigos y amigas.